Hello, and welcome to Multifamily Strategy. Today, we're going to be talking about partnerships. Now, usually I don't share all of my lessons from the Thursday call from Multifamily Strategy Mentorship. However, today I'm going to be sharing it for YouTube because I have to refilm it. I forgot to hit the record button. I figured, hey, since I'm already just making a custom video without any interactions, we might as well get some of the content out here. Every Thursday, we do a structured lesson. Monday, our Q&A. Tuesday's Deal Deep Dive. I'll talk to you guys about partnerships, though, here on YouTube, and I'll upload this to the course here later today. So, partnerships. There are two primary types of partnerships. Now, if you are new to the channel, I have bought hundreds of rental properties, a little bit over 400 today, in 27 total partnerships. Almost all of them have gone fantastically. A few of them have gone terribly. Like debt, equity has variables. We hate variables. I don't want a ton of people in my universe. However, if you want to expand beyond your current self and your abilities, you're going to have to bring on people. The business that I have today, the vision I have for my portfolio is bigger than myself. Therefore, I need people. How do we manage them? What types of partnerships are there? We're going to share that in today's episode. So, what are we covering? Strategic partnerships, capital partnerships. What are the difference? How are we managing the rules? I'm going to show you some practical examples of actual partnerships. And yes, I'm going to go into details with my past partner, Cody Davis, on what it looks like, which, by the way, was an expensive but very profitable partnership. I'm going to be honest about all of it. Talk about Caleb Hummel. I'm going to talk about a couple specific deals and how the partnerships went a little sideways. First of all, let's talk strategic partners. These are the main people who are in your universe. They're in for the long haul. Your goal is not to buy them out at a later date. These are the people on your ship. So imagine an actual boat. These are the crew members that you are putting on your ship. They have specific roles. You guys are in it together. You are on the high seas, braving the storms, and the good and the bad together. There's also partnerships where people will sail next to your ship towards a target destination and eventually part ways and go opposite directions. But I love this analogy because when you are in business and you are all on the same boat until you have reached your objective, you want to be going the same direction. If you squabble while on the water, you are dead in the water, which is not where you want your partnership to be. So be very careful with who you have on the boat. On the left here is a broker that I have worked with on 5 transactions, 4 of them seller financed. And I own one of them with him. He is a partner. He is a broker. He is a deal finder. He is an unbelievably hard worker. And I've become very, very good friends with him in my business. Every time I fly to Washington, I go to him and his wife's house. We're very, very, very close with him as a friend, as a business partner. He is a strategic partner who has been a huge piece of my business. To the right, you see Todd Robinson, who is one of my primary lawyers. This is the best syndication lawyer I've ever met in my life. I work with him on some of my largest deals, and he is an equity partner and helps me structure some of the deals optimally. He helps with so much of the portfolio, a huge privilege to have him on the team. But these are the people who are long-term strategic partners. They need to add unique value in places, ideally, that you are the weakest. They're going to come in and add their strengths. I am not a details person. These two are details people. Eric's knocking out the brokerage paperwork. Todd's knocking out all of the legal paperwork, figuring out the structures, making sure my math is good. Getting a team like this, these are the types of people you want on your boat. This is the broker and the lawyer. Of course, I have many more strategic partners, such as Cody Davis and Caleb Hummel, Corey Wittenbarger, all people who fill individual roles very, very, very well. Then you have capital partners. Here's one of them right here. You may have seen the podcast with me and him. But these are people who come in not to add a strategic role, not to be a long-term partner, but they are people who have money, who want to participate in your deal. Now, in a joint venture, I want to point out everyone needs to be active to some level. So you can't have a totally passive joint venture. You can, on a syndicated structure, have actual limited partners, and you can have general partners. So you can come in as an actual passive investor. Either way, these are the people whose boats sail next to yours for a while. They are going with you to the same destination, but they're not necessarily on your ship. They're not part of your crew. They're someone who you are working with. They bring money, you bring expertise, your deal, their capital gets to the end outcome. You need to understand what type of partnership it is. And if it's a capital partner, it especially needs to have a defined ending point. We are working together to get to this destination. At that destination, we can either choose a new destination and go together, or we can go different directions towards our own individual goals. They're designed to be short term. If you try to make every partnership a major strategic partnership, you'll end up with too many partners pulling in too many directions, Everyone's trying to captain the ship, and you end up with a boat that goes nowhere. Understand what you are recruiting and why. If I am filling a hole in my crew, I need a strategic partner. I want to have more deal finders if I need more deal volume. If I want a lawyer on my team, someone who can help really counsel and have skin in the game, I'm going to be looking for the right lawyer. Hence, Todd Robinson. If I'm looking for the right brokers, I want to see people who can work like an owner, who want equity in deals. If I want that on my team, which I did, you find the best broker you can possibly find and you add them to the team. Build your team with strategic partners. Be very picky with them. With capital partners, protect yourself. Give yourself buyout options. Defined endpoints for each of these. So let's talk a few practical deals. Cody Davis. I have bought 38plex, a 12plex, a 10plex, another 10plex, 3 duplexes, 2 triplexes, the Robin Hood Village Resort, and a few other deals. A mobile home park, RV park, a single family house next to the Robin Hood. I can go on and on and on. I bought hundreds of rentals with Cody Davis. We started all of Multifamily Strategy and this YouTube channel together. If you go back in time on this YouTube channel, the original videos are Cody and I sitting in a basement talking about how one day we're going to buy real estate together. We documented from before we bought the darn buildings together. This partnership, the bulk of it, lasted 2 years. I still own a few buildings with Cody today. This one was a very expensive partnership, and we learned a lot, and it was expensive for Cody and I. We've shared this very publicly. No one's throwing each other under the bus at all. I want to highlight this was a successful partnership. Picture here on the left is Cody and I at the Robin Hood Village Resort in what used to be the old restaurant hosting an event. In the course of my working with Cody, I made the first $2.2 million. This is in cash. I was able to take out of the portfolio personally. Now, we also have some other business together, so I actually did make more than this in the partnership, but just in real estate, $2.2 million in profit. It did cost to buy him out of one of my companies and to adjust our pieces. In my liquidity, it cost $1.15 million. Now, I had a bunch of other assets in this, so this is not just a straight one for one. Don't look at this as like, wow, he made 2 and lost 1. There was more benefit to partnering with Cody, a lot more benefit than just the $1 million of upside represented here. But I do want to point out, it was very expensive to break up this partnership. We had no defined ending. We came in with a goal for 100 units. We hit it. We adjusted some pieces. What we found is as my wife left her job and joined our company, both Osgood spent most of the time on the management company, and Cody was spending more time in acquisition. Acquisition had been a skill that I had acquired. We started out where Cody was the acquisition king. Both of us had the same skill. How do we adjust? Cody wanted one of his original buildings back that I'd bought into. He had a bad partnership. I got rid of that partner. I traded him the building. He traded me the property management company. Now the workload and the equities were back in balance. We went on mission number 2. What we found with the resort, which was part of phase 2, it was not a good fit for the two of us. My business background, my employee background, my college background made me a better fit to run a hospitality project. Hospitality is not multifamily. Multifamily is real estate. Resort is a business that involves some real estate. One is very clearly, though, a business with employees and operations and marketing, and the other one is running a rental portfolio. They are actually different. For us to separate out and to divide our pieces as he moved to Tennessee, got engaged, as we went different directions, the actual monetary cost for me was relatively high. I ended up being the more liquid of the 2 partners, which makes sense because that's where I started. As I took my liquidity and sold some pieces and moved my pieces around and scaled my business to end that partnership in an equitable position for everyone. And I do want to point out that Cody and I are great friends and ended in a great place. It involved really the first time I ever had a liquid $1 million of cash. I had to move the pieces around to get Cody $1 million to buy him out of some of the buildings. That is a lot of money, especially if you started with next to no money in real estate in a 5-year period. The core of the partnership lasted about 2 years. The friendship, hopefully, will last a lifetime. Profit, $1 million. Good partnership. Expensive partnership. The lessons learned here cost me $1 million of liquidity. Well worth it, though. Cody's awesome. Caleb Hummel. There was a picture here, I promise, but just imagine a beautiful 76plex that we just purchased that I apparently accidentally deleted before making this video. Caleb and I bought a 25 plex, a 26 plex, a 44 plex, and a 76 plex. We're under contract as of the filming of this video for a 144 unit and a 51 unit. I have bought a lot of real estate with Caleb. Caleb, I'm partnered with for 2 years. Caleb needed a little bit of help on one project that cost me personally $30,000 that probably could have been structured differently. It was a cost of Caleb being newer to real estate. Together, we have already made $2.4 million together and growing very rapidly. Caleb is phenomenal. This guy is amazingly hardworking. In fact, he's the only other person I've ever worked with who is comfortable putting in and day out 18-hour days if that's what we need done. We'll just cut the sleep schedule down. We'll take the meal time down to 30 minutes a day, just cram the calories in and just grind. I don't do that often. It's definitely not healthy. He's the only one I know when we have to do it, he can lock in and get it done. He is incredible. I will put him on my team on any project imaginable as long as details are not required. Both of us are very bad at detail work. We're more big picture people. If it involves sales, organizing a business plan, if it involves making 1,000 calls in one day to get something done, he will get it done. Absolutely incredible. Partnership, look at that return. I invested in that at the time, 19-year-old. He's 22 today. 22. I got that right. He has never had a job, never went to college. He just came in, started buying real estate, and he lives in the penthouse of one of the nicest towers in downtown Dallas. Not the lifestyle I would choose. I am not a big city person, but he loves it. He has an amazing fiance, soon to be wife. He did the entire thing without any work experience whatsoever. Return on investment in heavily investing in that young guy. I personally made over $2 million on a total capital investment of $30K. Worth noting, I've spent more time invested into Caleb than anyone else in my entire life. When he moved to Texas, I flew to San Diego to drive with him to Texas. I attended his baptism. I will be at his wedding. Very time expensive. Highest return imaginable, $30K into $2.4 million and rapidly scaling. Great partnership. That's as good as it gets. Let's talk about the ugly. There's a Seattle deal that I did with a partner. Again, these slides, I put them together relatively quickly. It's not $35,000 I edited a previous slide. It's 35. Let me try it again. 57K and 45K. Ignore the million here. Seattle deal. This was a great deal. Bought this deal low down. It was $50,000 down for a $1.1 million transaction. We sold this at a significant profit and we didn't need to sell it, except that the partner went absolutely crazy. He actually got a lawyer and asked me to pay him, personally pay him, for every month the property was vacant while there was bed bugs in the unit. There's a unit that had bed bugs and fleas. I came in, renovated the unit myself, did the work, saving the LLC a ton of money. And he said, hey, for every month, because you're the property manager, you owe me money for all of our vacancy. Never contributed to the accounts, never attended any of our meetings, did not do anything he agreed to. And his logic was because he didn't help, anything that didn't make even more money was my fault. Now I tripled his money. And then we got 45,000 legal bills fighting over the money that I tripled from him because he thinks that I should have 5x'd his money in 2 years. He did no work. He violated our operating agreements. Worst legal battle ever. Even worse, he is the only person I ever invested with who was a friend, a dear friend, before we started this project. This was not a business partner. This was a friend who I went into business with. So what I learned here, I barely made any money on this deal. I spent most of it in legal fees, defending the LLC and him from derailing everything and costing everyone money. Total waste of my time. This deal should have made about $700,000. Instead, it only made $350,000. After everything was all split out, I barely made anything, and I put in 100% of the work. The lesson here, don't partner with friends or family. There is no lack of people who want to make money in real estate, and my dear friend, Caleb, Cody, Eric, all those people that I just listed here in all the previous slides, they are great friends. I spend a ton of time with them, and we are friends who started in business together. Do not introduce a relationship you're not willing to change. Don't introduce it to money. Money in your relationship will change it sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. But if you're not willing to risk it, don't bring it in. I lost a friendship and I still don't understand why. I took a little bit of his money and made it into a boatload of money. And he hated it for me, and now we can't talk legally. I have a restraining order against him. I cannot get anywhere near me and my family. Crazy. Even the judge in our arbitration said he's crazy, and he's also willing to just burn money to make sure that he causes as much damage as possible. Crazy things. Crazy things. Afraid of Washington. I did a deal here with multiple deals, seller financed. I partnered with someone who I really liked. This was a lender. This I did correctly. This was someone who was looking for some tax benefits. They wanted to do a project. They had some money. They had real estate experience. And we had 2 years of awesome partnership. Multiple buildings purchased. There's a couple of them there. These are them before we did the renovation. 12-plex, 5-plex. I eventually bought a 9-plex in this LLC. Profit was hundreds of thousands of dollars. Partway in, his spouse, this is years in, his spouse, who I really didn't know very well, started showing up to the meetings. Now, they had given me explicit instructions. Hey, my wife is not involved in this. She doesn't really understand a lot of this. Please do not send her invites to the company meetings, which isn't that weird, as I don't know his wife. He's the one in real estate. I'm like, okay, this is comfortable. I have, someone who I know, and we've worked together for years. We had the meetings. We ran the LLC, and it made money, and it was all cash flowing. They bought out my other partner, who happened to be Cody Davis. Once they got 66% ownership, so they got majority ownership, his wife suddenly had a million questions about how the LLCs were run and why we weren't putting in stone countertops and making these places like HGTV. In fact, her logic was, well, my father used to renovate houses, so I'm a pro at this. For context, my father used to be a professional diver. I can't scuba dive. Your parents renovating a house has nothing to do with your ability to renovate and operate a multifamily building. That is just a fact. Well, when they got majority interest, they voted me out of the LLC as managing member and started commingling our accounts and started approving contractors for work that should not be done on buildings with no return. And they moved tenants from our grossest units into our newly renovated units, where the tenants proceeded to destroy the unit as they had the previous unit. They unraveled 2 years of work and tons of cash flow in a grand total of 3 weeks, breaking, as I counted, 4, possibly more laws, completely jeopardizing the LLC and causing me to, once again, have to hire a lawyer, which is my least favorite thing in the world to do. How did we salvage this? I told them, hey, I'm going to go ahead, as is my right. I'm going to force us to sell this thing at a loss to end this partnership because you can't force me to be partnered with you. I cited where they had broken laws, but at the end of the day, my main thing was, I'm not in this partnership. You cannot force me to contribute capital, or not in the OA. But yeah, they secretly held a meeting as majority stakeholders and voted me out of my own LLC management, locked me out of accounts. It's the worst thing that can happen. How we solved it is I said, look, you guys are looking at total loss of capital, and we're going to go ahead and lose the building if you guys keep doing this. I did find 2 people who were willing to buy them out. Those 2 partners came in and not only bought them out, put in extra money into the account to finish the renovations the right way and buy a third seller finance building. Today, even with the third seller finance building not completely finished, it cash flows beautifully. It is one of the best dollar per dollar transactions we ever did. And I cherry picked my partners and got to know their wives to where everyone involved understands the deal, is on board with the deal is fully capitalized, and it is moving forward at the right pace. We also put a clause, the other 2 partners can still get rid of me if I suck at managing, but as managing member, no one can buy the other person's share and vote me out. It has to be a unanimous vote. They have to cite certain reasons. There's more of a process to remove the managing member. I am not a tyrant. I don't want to take over the whole portfolio. And if I do a bad job, they should be able to get rid of me. But we made it so that we cannot have a repeat of the last thing. I have the most experience. I have done projects like this. I have the contractor contacts up there. My wife and I have the ability to make us money and have the ability in our operating agreement to make sure that none of the other partners get in the way of everyone else making money, which is what happened on the first iteration. New partnership is a 10 out of 10 profit. Total profits to be determined, as we're still renovating one of the buildings completely. Total gut job. It's awesome. I'm so excited about the project. but it will be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of return, probably about a 3 to 400x return on the money invested. That's what I have for you on partnerships. Those are actual stories. I do want to point out, for me personally, I've had a ton of partnerships. I mean, I've had a ton of partnerships, almost 30 partnerships. They almost all have gone fantastically. And to date, none of them have ever lost money, which is epic. There's a certain point in investing, usually, where something goes wrong enough where you lose money eventually on some investment. Of the last 27 deals, none of them have lost money partnerships, even though some of them have been close, like the derailed Seattle one. They have all ended profitably. Partnerships can be awesome. Partnerships have allowed me to, the successful ones have allowed me to buy hundreds and hundreds, over 400 units. By the end of this year, it should be a little bit over 600 rental units in a relatively short period of time. I have made liquid millions of dollars. It allowed me to move from Seattle to Texas in a big, beautiful house, raise my family where I want to. There's been a lot of things that have been allowed specifically because I allowed partners into the universe. The core lesson that I want to impart to you here: partnerships are variables. People are variables. There's 100 other stories I could share with you on the good and the bad of partnerships, but you need to understand the goals of the partnership and realize that partnerships are not a marriage. You should have a defined goal, a specific target, and when you hit that target, reevaluate. And before you hit that target, don't retrade and don't squabble. Just get to the darn goal. Everyone pull as hard as they can. There's no such thing as a equally perfectly balanced partnership anywhere in your life. Just be a good partner. Do a good job of running everything you can. Control what you can control, influence what you can influence. Really spend the time getting to know the people that you partner with. Because if you can partner with the right people, you will move forward 1,000 times faster. I hope my over $1 million of paid experience here has shared some insights that will positively affect your business, either a partnership you don't get into or a partner that you find who fills the gaps in your business in a way that you didn't imagine was possible. As always, like and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you. I can share so much more if you actually like and share the darn video. So do me a favor, take this video, share it with one friend who you want to partner with or who is looking to partner and expand their portfolio. I appreciate you. I'll see you on the next episode.